Good afternoon, Rana. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Hi, Angela.
So our first question is, what sparked your interest in engineering?
I was given an insight into the world of technology when my school took part in the engineering education scheme, which is run by the Royal Academy of Engineering, and I hope lots of people listen to this took part in that as well. And I looked at all the different disciplines, and it shone the light on a whole host of careers that I'd never considered to that point. I always thought I'd be a doctor or a dentist, like my parents wanted me to be. Um, and I also then did a WISE day that was run by University College London, and that confirmed my decision to apply to study chemical engineering at university.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. What does a typical day of work involve?
One of the things I really love about my career choice is that I don't have a typical day at work. I'm a consultant at Exmoor Pharma Concepts, which is a niche consultancy, and we specialise in bioprocess engineering for something called ATMPs, or advanced medicinal products, such as cell therapies. So I work with people like Great Ormond Street Hospital to bring their leukemia treatments to GMP manufacture, so we can treat more than just the one child. In the clinical trial stage, we could actually treat every child with that particular type of leukemia. So that's one thing I do, but I also support bioprocess facilities for monoclonal antibodies and antibiotics, for example. And so I'm on site, I'm at board meetings, I'm talking with scientists and professors, and I'm also commissioning and qualifying on site. So last week I was in Iceland commissioning some decontamination autoclaves and isolators, running around with my hard hat and hard shoes on, and I really enjoy that. But, you know, the company I work for, and the reason I chose to work for that company, is that they let me work from home when I'm not out on site. That means that I can sit in my shorts at home all day, but just catching up and doing quality work. So therefore, it means that even though there's lots of periods I need to be away from my work, I can maintain a work-life balance.
That's really attractive. Was your career path straightforward? Were there any obstacles that you had to overcome?
I was lucky that, and I'm quite academically decent, and I took the academic route, which is quite straightforward with A levels and going on to university. That was fairly easy for me. I was really glad that I did the sandwich course, and that year in industry did everything for me to be employable, I think, and confirmed that I did want to be a chemical engineer when I left university. I then went on to do an ND, an engineering doctorate, and that took me a while to write up because I was working full time. I then decided to take a break completely from work and actually just write the thing up and get my doctorate. But then I found it difficult to get a job in biochemical engineering after that break. For many, many reasons, mainly because I was perceived as overqualified for the graduate schemes, but I wasn't experienced enough for any other role because I hadn't actually worked in industry for any length of time apart from my gap year. But I got around this by reaching out to my network, which I got from university, my year in industry, and taking a temporary job in an allied industry, and then I got a job in a design house from that.
Very interesting. Do you think that there is a stereotype of female engineers? Is this negative? Is this positive?
I don't think there is a stereotype anymore. It certainly was 20 years ago, but I've seen a big change, and I think the days are over when I feel that I have to be one of the lads. One thing I would wish to change, though, is PPE for females, for ladies of my size, because I've got tiny feet, size 4. I wish they would be more widely available, and it would be such a struggle to get that. I carry my own with me these days. And trying, you know, I like pink, but I don't really want to wear it at work.
That's a good advice because I've been having the same problem, so it's useful to carry around PPE.
Yeah.
How easy has it been as female engineer to fit in within an office office or site environment where the majority of your colleagues have been female?
I graduated 15 years ago from Bath, I'm undergraduate, and during that time I've seen a huge change in the diversity in the workplace, both gender and race. Here in the UK and across the globe generally, I do get the odd occasion where I'm asked to go and get the tea and biscuits for Dr. Eardley when he arrives. And I have the awkwardness of having to explain that I'm Dr. Eardley, and sometimes that's a bit of a problem in patriarchal societies such as Japan or Korea. I found the best way of dealing with such situations is through humour rather than criticism and conflict and just making a joke out of it. And also, I've learned that I always need to ensure that my team are aware of this before we go out to, for a business meeting for the first time, and that it could affect the client relationship in certain societies, as I said, Japan particularly, or North Africa is somewhere where my team needs to know that although I'm British, I don't look like I'm British, and therefore I will be treated differently to them on the first meetings. And in those situations, I do the explanation, and then I focus on the task, and then the local teams tend to join my colleagues in treating me as an equal.
Thank you. Some surveys have shown that the number of women in engineering reduces as they progress through their careers. Have you encountered this? Can you suggest why this may be happening and what can be done to keep more women in engineering?
Yes, I have encountered it, and I think about the girls that I did the engineering education scheme with. Actually, 3 out of the 4 of us are still engineers, which is great. But there is a drop-off, and I think the main reason of that is a fact of life that women have babies. We have children, and we're the primary caregivers in most families. And taking a career break for any kind of reason means a gap in keeping up with the technology in our field. So chemical engineering is great because it's rapidly changing. You need to keep up with things, and if you're out for a year, whether you kept up or not, the perception is that perhaps you're behind a little bit and you need to do some remedial work. Also, I think I agree with the recent studies that show that women are consistently paid less than their male counterparts. This is not specific to engineering. I mean, was it Jennifer Lawrence and Kate Winslet have had a spat about the acting careers. But until this gap is addressed and paternity rights are improved, then every woman, I think, will find it hard to justify going back to a demanding role, and compromise on being there for their family. I'd be interested to find out the distribution of female engineers in SMEs, where maternity leave has a greater impact on output versus larger organisations. For every small company interview I've had, I've been indirectly asked about my situation at home or my likelihood of wanting children the next year. It's illegal to ask that question directly, but there are ways around it, and it always comes up because I'm a woman of a certain age. That's stopping now. I'm going grey and nearing 40. I think what could be done to keep more women in engineering is by continuing the work that people are doing to adopt flexible working practices. The government needs to enforce this by legislation for improved paternity rights, and not penalising for shared jobs, for example, providing incentives to provide IT, for example, to enhance flexible working practices. And also, we as women have a responsibility ourselves, and we should continue to share our best practices with each other, not just through, great work done by WISE and WARES, and reading books like Susan Doyle Morris's book, and she's got a website with it as well called Beyond the Boys Club, which I really recommend. I think that's a really good read. And of course, the IChemE Diversity Group.
Thank you very much, Ranna. Thank you for taking this time, for sharing these experiences with us. They are very valuable.
Thank you, Angela. It's great. It's really lovely to work with volunteers like yourself to share experience with each other. I really enjoyed listening to the other talks.